Hello, my name is David Mitchell and I am the co-translator of HVORFOR, HOPPER, JEG. How was that? In English, The Reason I Jump by Naoki Higashida. We're making this very short YouTube presentation, just really, firstly as a thank you note to the booksellers of Norway, you, for supporting this book the way you have done. It's not an average book, and so you've been brave, and I'm very happy it's worked so far, but your ongoing support is much appreciated. And just also, this is a short explanation about the book, which is an explanation about autism. It's in the format of question and answer, so I'm going to use the same question and answer myself now. Firstly, who is Naoki Higashida? He's now about 21. He's a Japanese young man with autism, very severe autism, in that he couldn't really do what I'm doing now or conduct a conversation in real time. He can, however, type, and when he types, you can see how articulate he is. How did he write it? He learnt to type using a sort of card keyboard, and just just spell letters, obviously in Japanese, out one by one. He then transferred this over to a keyboard, and he continues to write, and he's probably the leading ambassador of autism in Japan today. He read it when I was 13 though. I don't know what you were doing when you were 13, but I wasn't this articulate and I wasn't this sorted and organised, and I don't have a mind that is autistically wired, whereas he does, so he's a bit of a hero. Why did we translate it? My wife and I have a son with autism, and we got a lot of books and a lot of information, but not a lot of it was very helpful. Not in terms of dealing with sort of the catastrophe exploding on your kitchen floor there and then. They were pretty tough times, but this book really helped us, and we translated it because we want to help people who are in the same situation as us, and I guess we want, if we can, to try to change the narrative of autism and to sort of spread the message of this book. I'll talk more about that in a moment. For us, this book really proves that the inner lives of people with autism is just as rich as your inner life or my inner life. For me, the book proves that autism, it isn't an intelligence problem, and it isn't an imagination problem. These things work fine. It's a communication problem. Because it's a communication problem, time and time again, the people with autism are underestimated and undervalued, and I think underrespected, and their dignity is trampled upon. People just don't get how internally eloquent they are. When you know this, it's what I would call realistic hope. There's lots of fake gurus in the autism world. We're a captive market, we're scared parents, we'll pay for anything, up to a point, and only a few times. But for us, this book just gives knowledge, which is the best thing of all. It has taught us more about autism, a lot more about autism, and therefore it's helped us to be more patient and sort of to raise our expectations about what our son's capable of. And as any good teacher will tell you, the performance of your kids is directly linked to your expectations of how they can perform. This book's encouraged us to just use more language with our son. If he takes off his hat and puts it on the floor, previously we might have thought, well, he has autism, what do you expect? But we'll now use language to sort of insist he picks it up and puts it at the end of the black table. So our son, as a result of this book, sort of has been bombarded with much more language than he otherwise would be. I am rambling. I will get back to my secret crib sheet, which you might not have noticed. Who is the book for? Start with a smaller group and get bigger. It's for us. It's for us autism insiders, people who are living with autism and want to understand it better. It's for the relatives of people with autism. My own parents, my brother, just couldn't help me. They weren't going through what I was going through. They didn't understand. How could they? I wouldn't have done. But if one of them had brought me this book before we'd translated it, I would have. It would have saved a year of pain. But now it's available, which is great. Wider circle, it's for anyone who wants to understand autism. As you might have noticed, there's a lot of it about, and it's not just Dustin Hoffman and Rainman. It's sort of the kid living upstairs, it's the kid in the supermarket queue, it's a kid coming into your bookshop who might mess your display up a bit. Knowledge is a wonderful thing. If you understand them better, everyone's life will improve, I promise you. What I want is for people to understand autism and just to understand that my son doesn't want to be the way he is. He sort of has to be it. But people's ignorance of autism is exacerbating the problem. It's making it worse. If people just understand it better, if they just read this, they'll know that it's not naughtiness, it's not disobedience, it's not will, it's not aggression, it's none of these things. It's because they perceive the world in a somewhat different way. And if we can understand exactly how, we will all live a lot longer and more happily. That's broadly one of the other things I love about this book. Now he talks about the mind, and now he talks about memory, or how people with autism perceive time. There's even a story in it, by the way, which just, even the third time I was translating it, would just sort of make me blub shamelessly, and tears. And, I won't go into details, but it packs an emotional wallop. But when he talks about the mind, it makes you think about your own mind. Sort of, you start thinking, well, actually, this is how people with autism remember. How do I remember? What metaphor would I use? Or it talks about time, how people with autism perceive time. And you start thinking, well, actually, how do I perceive time? And you start to understand that there isn't actually a boundary between autistic and non-autistic. We do all occupy some sort of oscillating band of the very same spectrum. So my last answer to the question, who is this book for, is really, it's for anybody who wishes to understand the mind. We need a revolution. We need to change the way that autism is perceived. Some good work has already been done. This is another step. Thank you for helping us spread this message. Thank you for taking this step with us. Thank you very much, and tusen takk.